Dear viewers, today yet another exciting episode where you and I will delve into the madness that is GTA Online to unravel the mystery of a creature so vile, so driven by madness that it shakes the very core of the world. But first, as always, I kindly ask you to grab the most comfortable old leather sofa you can find and ring-a-ting-a-ling the tiny brass bell as you softly but resolutely whisper, Charles. Ask for your butler Charles to construct an octagon made of the oak wood collected from a 500-year-old oak tree. Then, demand for him to face your maid Antoinette in the octagon for a 5-round mixed martial arts fight to the death. The winner gets to pour you a gin and tonic and may press the like button on this video. Excellent. Now let us begin the episode. Last year, our episode on the Griefer aired. In that episode, we delved deep into their dark and psychotic brain. We learned that the Griefer is a wild card in the world of Los Santos, the Tryhards' slow cousin. But back then, the Griefer was just a nuisance, and nowadays he's become a real problem. Today, we're exploring the griefing problem in GTA Online. Griefing, the act of making one's life miserable by any means necessary, is a problem not only in GTA Online, but in the gaming community in general. Yes, in every community, there are boys and girls who channel their frustrations and anger and project them upon their fellow gamers. This problem exists on an unprecedented scale in Los Santos. Yes, the world of GTA Online is vivid, rich, and filled with opportunity. And all of this opportunity can be abused. As we have established, the world of Los Santos evolved from a crime simulator into World War VI simulator, with all of the depravity and madness skipping World War III, IV, and V altogether. However, even without all of this, the Griefer was still a problem. No matter how, he will always find a way to make everyone else's life miserable. But the Gaming Geographic team managed to tranquilize a wild Griefer, drag him into our underground lab, and research the source of his frustration. And what we found was disturbing, to say the least. Besides the unwashed clothes, the skid marks in the underwear, the ecosystem that formed underneath his armpits, and not bathing in weeks, we found that the source of all of this anger and frustration was indeed a micropenis. Yes, the micropenis, the source of many unexplainable things in not only GTA Online, but other games and even in the real world. Yes, the majority of the tryhards inhabiting the streets, craving for that high KD, but denying so hard that it is about KD, are just trying to compensate for their tiny wee-wees. Whenever they send you that L with a number of Zs, just sit back and enjoy the thought that they indeed are upset over their penis the size of an acorn. But the Griefer operates differently. While the Tryhard has a clear motive, the Griefer takes out his anger and frustrations on everyone. It doesn't take sides with anyone or anything, but sometimes it does prioritize. Yes, often the fellow inhabitants of the world are trying to make ends meet, trying to make money, and then the Griefer comes soaring in like an eagle trying to feast upon the hair below. Yes, the prime target for Griefers are the grinders, but if you think the sorrow the Griefers try to inflict is exclusive to the grinders, you are horribly mistaken. No one is safe, and even though the Griefer is closely related to the Tryhard, the Griefer often preys upon the Tryhard. No creature on the streets of Los Santos gets so upset over dying than the Tryhard. Yes, when the grinder dies on a cell mission, they lose hours of work, but they come to terms with the loss. They learn and no longer become a target for the Griefer. The Tryhard, on the other hand, gets more and more angry every time he dies to the Griefer. And the Griefer, well, he loves this. He feasts upon the anger, the chaos, and the grief he inflicts. The griefing problem was a problem that always existed in GTA Online. Even if we go years back, the griefer made ends meet with what they got. A well-placed sticky bomb in a sneaky rhino tank, a suicide jet strike, locking people up inside of a clothing store by parking a car right outside of the door. Yes, the griefers were a source of great frustration, but at the end of the day, they made all of us laugh at times. The extent and length of their grief goes to make your life a little harder was actually a little bit funny. Yes, it made the inhabitants laugh. But as GTA Online has evolved and griefing became easier and easier, well, the griefer devolved, became less creative with their griefing attempts. The orbital cannon, the Mark II oppressor and the laser, well, that's about the extent of their repertoire really. And so the griefer still exists, and we stand somewhat saddened as we look over the sedated boy and we wonder, what would he have become if he did not have a tiny, tiny penis? Dear viewers, it was outstanding to once again inform and entertain you for a little while on our TV channel. And before we send you on your way, we will go for a quick round of comments by the fire. Giovanni Francis says, yo, if Thanos is in GTA 5, when he snaps his fingers, will half the players get banned, or will they just die and respawn? Truly a great question. Rockstar actually goes full Thanos on all of its player base, every now and then. One snap of the fingers and half of the player base loses all of their money every few months or so, no matter how you earned your money, legit or not. Randy Marsh says, thank you for comments by the fire, Uncle Sonny. No problem, Mr. Marsh. I will let the dear director know you send your gratitude. Empty says, my butt pillow was a 9.8. How shall I handle my incompetent butler? A great question. Might I suggest you send your butler back to the Butlers R Us? Obviously your butler is malfunctioning and should receive a full frontal lobotomy. No one wishes another 1973 Butlergate tragedy. Oh, such a dark day. A defective butler locked out his owner by accident. He had to knock on the door and wait over 5 minutes outside. Such tragedy. We have to move on. On that emotional note, I will now depart. And all that remains for me to say is, dear viewers, stay safe out there.